Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. Hello everybody and welcome to the show. This is Andy Shed Live, Series 13, Episode number 10 for Sunday the 8th of October 2023. Hello everybody and welcome to the show. Just got to move my camera a little bit as I've just realised it's not in quite to the right place today. But yeah, hello there. How the devil are you? Hope you're having a good one once again. We are here for another Sunday evening, basically, with you. And it's still a bit wobbly, that camera, isn't it? Oh, is that slightly less wonky now? Perhaps slightly less wonky. Only slightly, though. Yeah, starting to have the lights on. It's starting to be dark outside. Crikey, how did that happen? Hello to everybody who's with us. Dominic was with us earlier when I sort of switched YouTube button and started the pre-stream. Said it might be a bit late tonight, so I'm heading back from Sheffield after visiting the Super Tram. Wow. But Wesley's with us, Christopher 2000's with us, Blubber Brother is with us, Maget's with us, and Gambo is with us as well, evening all. And welcome aboard for... Oh, well, it's getting towards the end of YouTube, isn't it? Yeah, the end of YouTube is coming. We will be switching to Odyssey in November. Now I was going to do a split stream today, but we've not got the Odyssey end of it set up yet, so that'll have to wait until probably next week or week after next, perhaps, because it's all been happening this week. We're going boat moving again next week, and I'm hoping next week we might get to film some of it. So yeah, we're going boat moving. We are going from Thorn to basically Rotherham. From Thorn to Rotherham. It's approximately 10 hours, and we're going to do it over 2 days. 10 hours of cruising, and we're going to do it over 2 days. Friday and Saturday, I think we're actually going to do it. So if you're going to be on the old waterways of Britain on Friday and Saturday, watch out for a boat called Perfect Day, because if you see a boat called Perfect Day, there's a 1 in 6 chance that I'll be on it. I say there's a 1 in 6 chance because apparently there are 6 boats on the UK Canal and River Network called Perfect Day. So there you go. Right, telephone related stuff. It's all happening at the moment. I am in the middle at the moment of of restoring trim phones. This is a job I've been on with for somebody for ages and ages and ages. And what the story is, he's going to refurbish all these trim phones and try and sell them. But the problem is, a lot of the trim phones that he bought to refurbish and sell had got broken handsets. Trim phone handsets are well known for breaking across there. And he got around about 75, I think, broken ones. So I've been using the old acetone treatment and sticking them back together. And as you can see, this one is back together now. So that's what I'm on with at the minute. So they've had a first touch of acetone, and now basically I've just got to do a little bit of sanding. And this sandpaper, this is ceremonial Wilko's sandpaper, the last sheet of Wilko's sandpaper. I think all the Wilko shops are shut now, aren't they? Are they all closed now, or are there a few still open that close this coming week? I think most of them are now closed. So yeah. Gambo says, I've downloaded the Odyssey app. Excellent, Gambo. You'll be in business then next week, hopefully. It says, it's on my phone. It says, I've not tried it on my smart TV. Can you get the Odyssey app on your smart TV, Gambo? I can't get it on mine. But mine is a Samsung smart TV, and it's not very good. I do not recommend that. But yeah. Chris says, Andy, did you get my email question of Snowden trim phone that I saw on Australia eBay? It's arrived, but I didn't look at it. I will look at it now. I will try and tell you the answer to whatever your question is. Right, talk amongst yourselves a minute while I just sort this out for Christopher. Alright, where are we? Somewhere in here. Right, what day did you send it, Christopher? Oh, it could be that one. Question of a Snowden trim phone, there it is. Rare brown and cream 8722G Snowden trim phone for $82. Beg your pardon, Thor. You're snorting that. And it says, hi Andy, I have a question. I bought this phone off Australia eBay. It was listed as a rare brown and cream 8722G Snowden trim phone. What's the question then? It is an 8722G. Yeah, it is what it is. That is Christopher. It's right. That. Yeah. Sorry, folks, you can't see it, can you? Would you like me to make it so you can see it? Just bear with me a sec. There it is. Yeah, so Christopher bought this, and yeah, it looks right to me, that, Christopher. Everything it seems to be right about that. Even the line cord is right. They didn't have coloured line cords, they all had grey ones like that. So yeah, that's bob on. What did you pay for it? About $80. What's that in UK pounds? It might have been a bit expensive, that. Yeah. I wouldn't pay more than about 25 quid for one. People try and sell them for horrendous amounts of money, but I never buy them for that. Wait long enough, they come along cheaper. Right, talking of trim phones, as I was saying earlier, we've been doing these. and I've been basically mending them across there. So they've had the acetone treatment and they've gone a bit funny across there. You see, they've got a bit of a... You can see what I've done across there, can't you? So basically what we've got to do now is just try and rub that down a bit and see what we end up with. So that's the next job now, is to do that. So a little bit of sandpaper, and he's going to be painting these. So actually sanding them is kind of helping to key the surface, so I'm not going to be sanding them too smooth. But just sanding it just so we can basically, hopefully, get rid of the line that's in it. Another crack. It may need a bit more acetone in there. It may need some slightly thicker acetone to fill some gaps in the crack. So what you do basically is you dissolve some ABS plastic in it until it makes like a thick milk, a sort of creamy sort, you know, like cream on top of milk, that sort of consistency. And then you can use that to kind of fill the small cracks in that might appear. But if you can now see what I'm doing there, you can still just about see that crack, but it's smooth to the touch. When that's painted, you won't actually see that. The one on the top there could probably use a little bit of filler in it, and I've got to do this side yet. So yeah, I'm sitting here repairing trim foams tonight. That seems to be my lot in life at the moment tonight. Sit here and repair some trim foams. Gambo says, I've got 2 working smart TVs and 4 broken smart TVs. Yeah, that tells you about a lot about the reliability of that little Gambo. 2/3 of them don't work. Yeah, I've had loads of trouble with this Samsung one. Loads of trouble with it. It's software, I think, that's the main problem. It freezes up and things, and you have to like switch it off at the plug and switch it back on again, and all sorts of nonsense like that. Gam also says, my Batmobile phone arrived and it fully works. Not took any photos yet though. Excellent. The Batmobile phone. Christopher says, I've not got the trim phone yet. Well, the good thing is it's in Australia, not coming from the UK, so hopefully it'll save a bit on the postage there. Be interesting to find out how that got to Australia, Christopher. What's made it end up in Australia? Gambo says that trim phone was about £42 doing the conversion. So it wasn't too bad, because people do try and sell them for about £80, £100. I just laugh and walk away. Michael T's joined us. Hi Michael, good to see you. And Christopher said he's got the bells working in his Western Electric 500 phone, and he sent photos to show it. Right, I don't think they're here yet, or if they are, I've not found them in amongst my big stack of email. Right, that is starting to look something like now. I do believe we might get away with this one. Yeah, so I've mended it there. You can't hardly see it all on that side. You can see the bit still on the top, but you can't really see it on that side at all. Oh, you just about can see it on that side, but that side's come out pretty good. So I shall carry on with my acetone repairs. Gambo said all my smart TVs were broken, but I repaired 2 so far. One was a complete LED light switch, and the other needed new batteries in the remote. It's worked perfectly since. So somebody threw it out just because it needed batteries. Am I understanding that correctly? Just because the remote control needed batteries in, they threw the TV out. Crikey. Yeah. I shall say nothing to that. But yes, more for them, and good for you, Gambo, for saving it from the skip. You can get some bargains like that. Now, this monitor here that I am watching the stream on, this is one of a batch of about 6 or 7 monitors that I got from a little computer shop in Matlock, Derbyshire, because they were having a clear out and they just put it all on Freecycle, all this stuff that they were clearing out, because it was like return stuff that they'd got. And it was sort of messing their shop up. You know, they got it all under a bench, actually, under a big workbench. There was loads of stuff, including a lot of uninterruptible power supplies with batteries in. That had failed somehow. So all the monitors, basically, I recapped the monitors, and pretty much all the monitors worked when I'd recapped them. The uninterruptible power supplies, they didn't work, and they were massively heavy. So I took them apart and took the batteries out of them, took them down my friendly recycling place, a commercial recycling place in Chesterfield, not a council dump it site, but a commercial recycling place, and I think they gave me over £100 for the batteries that I took out. So I did quite well on that free cycle haul from that shop in Matlock. Yeah, did alright with those. Right, I think those 2 are okay now. We will move on to the next one. So I'll put those 2 up there. Now you may be wondering why this has gone white. I think it's because there was some grey acetone. Grey plastic in the acetone that I used. The acetone was a bit contaminated because I'd used it for restoring a grey phone, I think. And of course, when you get the plastic on your brush and then you dip your brush back in the acetone, it puts a bit of the plastic into the acetone. But as I say, he's going to paint these phones anyway. I think he shouldn't paint them. I've told him not to paint them, but he says he's going to paint them so he can get more money for them. Well, I don't think he will, because I'll not be buying one if he paints them. But I've told him that, so it's up to him, isn't it? And the reason we're doing this, of course, and not just using new trim phone handsets, is because cases for trim phones are something you can't get new. They don't exist as a reproduction part. Unlike cases for things like 746s and that, which you can buy new as reproductions, you can't buy these new. So when you get a broken one, your only choice really is to repair it, which is ironic because there are so many fake trim phones out there, modern replicas, but they're not exact, so the parts don't fit. So you can't use modern parts from a modern replica trim phone on an original trim phone. The bits don't fit, unfortunately. So, when a trim phone breaks, you have no choice but to mend the bits you've got. And that's why I always seem to end up doing trim phone repairs. Because there's really no other option than do it this way. Right, what are folks up to in the old chat? Let's have a little look. Number says I got all the TVs for free. Just the parts I've paid for that I can source. Says one new screens and one that needs LED lights, but can find a match on the LEDs. Yeah, the LEDs going in LCD displays is quite a common problem, isn't it? I know people who've mended tellies where that's happened. It is quite a common thing, is that? Right, there's a blue one. You want to inspect my work? There it is. You see, it's got, again, you can see the crack across the top, but you can't see it on the sides. So it's looking good. I think once it's been painted, you'll never know. So now this, although this looks ivory, this is technically a grey one. Now this one, it might not disappear because I can see the crack there. This one, let's see what happens. Oh, it is disappearing. It is disappearing. I think the whole phone is quite discoloured, this one. It's yellowed, as ABS plastic does. So I'm also taking the yellowing off, just so I can be sure that the cracks disappear. Yeah, pretty much gone. There's another one. You probably won't see that one too well under the light. It's the light sort of reflecting off it. But yeah, take me word for it. Okay. Do across the. Top there, and that has just cracked on one side, that one I think. There we go. So we're getting through them. We are getting through them. Stuff. I'm having trouble pressing the right buttons tonight. Yeah. Oh, the other thing that's happened this week is that I've been offered a boat. Yes. It's all about boats at the minute, moving boats and people wanting to sell me boats and that. Yeah. I was offered a boat yesterday, actually, and the chap in the boatyard where I was offered this boat, he got for sale, has had it for sale for quite some time, said, would you like to go and have a look at it? And I said, yeah. He says, it's in the far end of the yard, come with me. So I went with him. And I went to the far end of this yard where nobody seems to have been for years and years and years, and it was all overgrown with trees and stuff like that. And I said, where is it? He says, it's there. And poking out from under this undergrowth was the bow of a boat. So I looked at as much of it as I could look at, which is basically just the very front end and the very back end. Couldn't see the sides at all, because of the trees that had grown over it. So at some point I'm going to go by and lop some trees down, in the hope of getting a proper inspection of this boat. And if it does come my way, then there will be a new series of YouTube videos of me restoring it, because it's a fiberglass boat. It's a narrow boat kind of size. It'll go down narrow canals, but it's made out of fiberglass. It's a type called a Dawncraft, and when you look on YouTube, there are lots of videos of people who are restoring narrowboats. The narrowboat that James built is a really good example. I really like his videos. But none of anybody doing a yogurt pot, as they call them. A GRP boat. So there'll be a new series coming along there. But whether it goes to YouTube or whether it goes to Odyssey is anybody's guess at the minute. And it will probably be on a different channel anyway, because I think it will potentially have a slightly different audience demographic. So that's what's been happening this week. So it's all getting very interesting in Boatland at the moment. Very interesting. Just got to see if I can afford it. Right, that's another one. The chat seems to have stopped tonight. It's not moving the way it normally does. Has it stopped? Has it just disappear? Yeah. So yes, trim phones, lots and lots of them to repair, and that I'm doing it with an eye to, if he does paint all these trim phones, I'm doing it with an eye to make it doing as many as possible and not mixing colours of plastic on them, because I just know that some years down the line some of his painted phones are going to come back to me to have the paint taken off them and be restored back to original. So I'm trying to make the repairs to the original plastic as good as I can without having to introduce any extra plastic that might be a different colour, because of course these are all unique colours. I've got no spare ABS, these colours of these trim phones, because it would mean breaking up a trim phone to get some ABS, and we're not trying to break them up, we're trying to restore them. Dominic says, I'm on the last leg back, so might make it just before the end of the stream. Nice one, Dominic. Whereabouts are you then? He must be on a train or something somewhere. He's been to Supertram in Sheffield. He's been to see the Supertrams, he says, in Sheffield today. So, where are you then, Dominic? Are you on a train heading somewhere? Yeah. And what bit of Supertram have you been to see? It's not a very interesting system, really, Supertram. It's slightly more interesting now. It has got two separate classes of tram working on it. It's got the original Duvag built Supertrams, and it's also got the more modern tram trains running on it as well. Now, not all of which are confined to tram train services. Some of them just work the normal tram services. But my claim to fame is I was one of the first people in Sheffield to ride on a Supertram when the service opened, and I was one of the first people to ride the tram train. I was on, I believe it was the very first service tram train between Sheffield and Rotherham Parkgate. So that's me claims to fame. And I didn't know a guy who had ticket number 000000001 for the Supertram when you had to buy your tickets before you travelled. And you had to buy them at a ticket machine, then put them in a validator to stamp them. All the tickets were numbered, and I knew a guy who had ticket number 1. Because he said he was there at the moment they were loading the tickets into the machines, and he asked if he could have the first one, and they gave it to him. There. That's another one done. looks a bit better. Just a little blemish on that there. Hopefully I can polish it out. There we go. So, I'll be glad to get this project out of the way. It's been hanging around. These trim phones have been hanging around for months and months and months. So I had a couple of free hours this afternoon, and I thought to myself, I'm going to crack on with that and try and get that project done. I have still got some more to do. This is not the last of them, but it is helping me get there. For anyone who's wondering where Thor is, he's on the floor here at the side of me. Every now and again does a little sort of snory sort of noise. Yeah. I don't know why it is these blue ones seem to be much more marked where I've done the acetone treatment. I mean, you could polish these back up if you wanted to, but if he's going to paint, I'm not really going to bother, because all he's going to do is rough them up again like that to give something for the paint to key onto. So, yeah. I never quite hold on to the camera far enough, do you? Still see that one a little bit, but it's not bad. Big Brother is back on TV tonight. People keep asking me if I'm going to watch it or not, and I don't know whether to or not. Having my close associations with the old Big Brother when it was made at S13E010 Film and Television Studios, which is not there anymore, I don't know if I really want to watch the new version or not. Right, 2 more to go. What's happening in the big wide world? Gambo says, have you sent any handsets back? I've not seen anything come up for sale in original or repainted. Yeah, but I have sent some back, Gambo, but they're all going to be painted all at once. So they've not been done yet. I sent some back because it was paying for them in batches, you see. Because it's a bit of a sideline project, really. So I have sent some back, but until they're all done, it's not actually going to have them repainted. This one's a particularly tricky one because there's some marks in the plastic on this. I don't know what's happened to it. It's like been scraped along the ground or something, because there's some weird marks in the plastic on this one. Got a bit of extra sanding to do on this one. I think we might run to a bit of fresh sandpaper now. Now I tore that bit off. What did I do with the strip that I tore that bit off from? Where did I put that? It's gone. It's disappeared. Don't know where it's gone to. That it's just vanished somewhere. Vanished into the ether, as these things so often do. Right. I'll tear another strip off then. The ceremonial end of the Wilko sandpaper. Where are we going to go and get stuff from now? There's no Wilkos. That's the question. I'm already having the problem of getting certain things now. Before I would go, oh, I'll just nip to Wilko's. Oh, I can't now. Buy it off eBay. People say, buy off Amazon, but I don't use Amazon because Amazon's rubbish, basically. I've seen Amazon from all different ends, as a person who sells on Amazon, as a person who buys on Amazon, and as a person who did delivery driving for a little while for Amazon. And from all ends of the company, I've had problems. Every aspect of that company, I've had problems with it. So I wouldn't touch Amazon with a barge pole. Looking a bit more sensible now. Oh, I was doing the wrong one there. That was what I've done already. I thought it looked a bit good. This is the one I was doing, the one that's got all funny marks on it, you see. I'm going to try and rub those off. mean, it's fairly smooth, but I want those marks to disappear really, because they might show through the paint. Right. I think we've about cracked it. Well, that's not very good done there still. Yeah, that's better. I think that's looking way better now. Way better. What do you think? Much better. It is now. Oh, Spig is with us. Hi there, Spig. He says, hi Andy. I have a blue DTMF trim phone 786. I've polished the case, but it's not really worked, and I've seen a picture of one that has been sanded with wet and dry, then treated with acetone vapor. Yes, Pete, that does work. I've not tried the acetone vapor thing, but I am told it works. It says, then polished, it looks brand new. I may try the same. What they do is they do exactly what I'm doing here. I mean, you can do it with wet and dry paper, you can do it with ordinary sandpaper. The only thing you benefit from doing it with wet and dry paper is you can put your paper in water and you don't use quite so much sandpaper. But wet and dry paper is twice the price of sandpaper anyway, so I just use sandpaper and then don't have to mess about with the water, to be honest with you. But yeah, you do it. You can do it like I'm doing these. You don't need to get it particularly. You need to get it smooth, but not a shiny finish sort of thing. And then you suspend it in a sealed environment over a pot of acetone or a tray of acetone. So if you've got a big bell jar or something, and I know not many people do have, but if you had got a big bell jar, you know, like they put over things in laboratories, and you could somehow suspend it up in the bell jar and put it all over a tray of acetone. The acetone vapours, as it evaporates, come off the tray and smooth out the foam. You have to be careful that you don't leave it in those vapours too long, because if there's any like moulding marks or anything on it that you want to keep, any writing or anything on the handset, you know, embossed into it or anything that you want to keep, it'll gradually all flow out. You know, so it'll look worn, kind of thing. But if there's not any of that, and you just want a shiny surface, yes, acetone vapor does work. The other way you might be able to do it would be to spray it with a mega fine mist. Maybe put some acetone in a perfume sprayer or something like that, and put a very fine mist on it. That might also work. I haven't tried it. I keep saying I'm going to try that, but I haven't tried it. But there we have it. Anyway, we've done a load of trim foams there. So how many have we done there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there's one more here to do. 10. This is number 10. And you can see where this one's broke across there, look, and across there. And I think that was snapped clean off that across there. That's not where they normally break. They normally go there. They get a stress crack across there because of the way they're moulded, because of the shape. It's a well-known problem with trim foam handsets. It's a design fault. It's as simple as that. It is a design fault. So we'll just do this last one. See what we can do to clear this up. It's getting there. I can feel it's rough there where I've done the joint, where it's melted the surface, and maybe I put my fingers in it or something when it was wet. So this one's not working so well because there were some slight gaps when I put this together. It didn't go together quite as well, this one. So this might have to have an acetone slurry fill in the gap, this one. Looking better, you can still see that you can't feel where it was broken, but you can still see it on this one, annoyingly. Let's try and make it disappear. Feels slight imperfection on that. I'm going to have to put an acetone fill on that, I think. Put a fill of acetone slurry on there because there is a bit of a dip in it there on that one. But that is the last one for today. Until I go and get another handful and start on another handful of them. That'll be another day. And it'll probably not be this week because what with boat moving and dog walking and various other things, it's going to be quite a busy week this week. So there, how about that? That's it then. So we've got 1, 2, 3 green ones, 2 grey ones that we've done, and 5 blue ones. Three green, 2 grey, and 5 blue. Interesting, one of these blue ones looks different colour to yours. This one looks paler to me than this one. And you think, oh well, it's something to do with fading and that, but it's the same on the inside as well. They're different on the inside as well. Don't know if you can see that. So I don't know what's happened there. But yeah, that's a load more trim foams ready to go. So yeah, that's me. My trim foam's done. Right, need to get rid of the dust now. Hang on a sec. I have a bit of a dust around. I've got sort of greeny blue dust everywhere. I need to move them actually, don't I? This is where I'll drop them on the floor and break them again. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I've done 10. Right. There. That is better. Right. Okay. So we are getting somewhere today. Dominic's home says, I finally made it. Evening Dominic again. finally got there before the end of the stream. I knew he'd make it. Michael T says, I wish it was that simple to improve the appearance of my car. It's a right banger. Paint it, Michael. That's the thing to do. Paint it. I did paint a car once. My very first car was a Volkswagen Beetle, a proper Beetle, not the modern ones. And I got it cheap because the previous owner had painted it in what appeared to be emulsion. Certainly wasn't shiny. And I was at the Tramway Museum at Christ at the time, and I went and asked their coach painting guy. I said, what should I paint this with? Because I tried spraying car paint over it, and it had reacted with whatever this paint was that had been put on, and it had all gone crinkly and all fell off again. So I said to him, what should I do? And he said, well, it's probably an oil-based household paint or something. He said, what you need to do is paint it with an oil-based paint. He said, it said like an enamel, like a coach enamel. And I said, well, where do you get coach enamel from? He says, you don't really need coach enamel. He says, we only have coach enamel here for the colours. you know, and it's very expensive coach enamel at that time. I think for like a litre tin, I think it was about £40 for a litre, and this is going back a good many years. He said all you need is a good quality enamel paint. He says that's all coach enamel is. I said, well, what is a good quality enamel paint? He said, well, I'd recommend Dulux Weather Shield. So I went to a shop, and that may have been Wilco's, and bought a tin of Dulux Weather Shield exterior gloss in Parade Red, and I painted this beetle with a 6-inch paintbrush. That's what Carl said. He said you use a 6-inch paintbrush. He says do it fast, and so I did it fast. He says don't be tempted to go back to it and mess with it. He says put it on up down up down up down. He says then go left right left right left right, and then go down 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 across the panel. Keep the leading edge of your paint wet. Don't be tempted to go back to it. So I did this on this car, and it looked atrocious. It looked absolutely atrocious, and I thought, right, well, this is terrible. This, I thought, I'm going to have to rub all this down again when it's dried. And so I kind of left the car in the garage, locked the garage up, went in the house, wondering what the hell I was going to do, and prepared for hours and hours and hours of sanding again. And got up the following morning, went and had a look at it to start sanding it, and it was like a mirror finish. Overnight, the paint, as it had dried, it had pulled out all the, well, there weren't deep brush marks in it, but you could see them. And overnight, it had pulled all those out, and it was like a mirror finish. You could see your face in the panels on this car. You know, it was a perfect mirror. I just could not believe it. I could not believe this magic that had happened overnight without me touching it. So yeah, Parade Red, Dulux Weather Shield Parade Red, and yeah, I'm a great believer in it. Now, I've said all this. It was about 30 years ago, this, and I'm sure now that there's some health and safety nonsense probably that's gone on that says you're not allowed to put in paint what they used to put in paint 30 years ago. And, oh, it's got to be water-based now and environmentally friendly. You can't have oil-based paint. And basically, water-based paint is crap. This stuff they put on cars these days, this water-based stuff, is terrible. That's why you see so many cars these days where the gloss has come off them, because the paint they put on is water-based and it's matte, and then they varnish it over the top, and the varnish doesn't stick to it for some reason. And you see loads of cars where the kind of varnish layers come off, and it's just matte paint underneath. Horrible, horrible, horrible stuff. Get yourself some enamel paint. If you do want to buy some decent coach enamel paint, if you're doing like sign writing or painting roses and castles and canalware and stuff like that, then you can do a lot worse than buying Craftmaster paints. They are fairly expensive, but they also are very good. Joby Carter uses Craftmaster on all his fairground rides and stuff like that. Carter's Steam Fair, which is now unfortunately no longer travelling. But yeah, he used Craftmaster. You want to see the state of my mouse? It's got all dusty. Excuse me a minute while I just dust my mouse. Oh, there, missus. Right. I've done it. Right, what's everybody up to in the chat? Dominic says, I think I underestimated just how big the Sheffield tram network is. Took 5.5 hours overall to cover the whole system. You did quite well to do it in 5.5 hours, Dominic. The trouble with the Sheffield tram network, it's not massive, but it is slow. So you did well to do it in 5.5 hours. I mean, where I live at Bolsover, I can catch a bus, which is a service that's operated for years and years and years. It used to be operated by East Midland division of the National Bus Company years ago, and it was operated by East Midland as a private company before that, as their number 3. It's now Service 53, operated by Stagecoach. It's basically the same route. I can catch that bus from here, and it goes quite close to the tram stop at Halfway, but then it continues into Sheffield. That bus from here takes an hour to get from here to Sheffield Interchange. To go on a tram from Halfway terminus into Sheffield Interchange also takes an hour. But the thing is, the bus that goes from here, Halfway Interchange, is halfway down that bus's route. So that bus gets from Halfway Interchange to Sheffield in half an hour, and the tram takes nearly an hour to do it, because the tram goes a silly route. Because rather than it going straight into the city centre, it turns off of City Road and goes kind of through a housing estate, as was, because there used to be a lot of tower blocks there, and they thought it was and in the early days of the Supertram it was criticised because it didn't go through any population centres, so nobody could catch it from home, sort of thing. So it went through there. So this is the population centre. There's like 10 tower blocks that it goes right past, that have got thousands of people living in each tower block. And you know what they did when they opened the Supertram? They started knocking the tower blocks down. And that's Norfolk Park. Yeah, there aren't any tower blocks there now. So yeah, it's not good. It was ill thought out from the beginning, Supertram. I was at some of the public consultation meetings before it got built. I was one of the people who they asked opinion of a mock-up that they had outside the cathedral in Sheffield city centre before the trams themselves got built. I say I was there on opening day, and I was there on opening day of the tram train as well. And the idea was good, but it goes in the wrong places for the main part. It links the city centre and Meadowhall, but what it really ought to do is radiate out of the city centre directly in a number of directions, and then act as a feeder for buses that only go into the outskirts of the city. That's what it should do. The city should have a big ring around it, and no buses come into the centre. They should go to like where the outer ring road is, and all bus services should terminate there, and then there should be frequent tram service direct straight into the city centre to take the people off the buses. That's how integrated public transport works in other countries. Famously, a lot of Europe, Germany and places like that have systems like that, but here we don't have systems like that, and the reason we don't have them is because British people are too stupid to change vehicles part way along their route. You know, they won't change vehicles. They expect the vehicle they get on outside their house to take them wherever they want to go, and it's not very efficient doing it that way. So yes. But having said that, having travelled on some of the other modern tram systems in the UK, I'll say modern tram systems because I'll exclude Blackpool from this for now. Having travelled on some of the others, Sheffield is actually one of the better ones. The Nottingham system is painful to ride on. Absolutely painfully slow to get anywhere on the Nottingham system, and not cheap either. Christopher says, I've been packing all my phones into boxes to get ready to move. Oh yeah, you're moving, aren't you, Christopher? When's the big day? When is moving day? It says, the only telephone I have to pack is my 1967 GPO746L, because it's in use as my home phone, and it's hardwired to my phone line at the moment. Excellent. And it says I've got my Western Electric 500 back on my CNET ATA as well. Brilliant, brilliant. Dominic says, looking forward to volunteering at Christ. Do you know the engineering manager, Graham? I don't. They didn't have such a thing as an engineering manager when I was there, Dominic. They've got a lot more paid staff now than they ever did in my day. When I was there, there was a paid manager, a paid bookkeeper, a paid guy in charge of what they called outside works, a fellow called Bob Hall. There was a paid sort of caretaker bloke called Ken, and there was an office person, sort of manager's secretary called Joan Hitchcock. That's 5, isn't it? Then there was a paid man in the workshops, looking after the workshops Monday to Friday, called Tony. There was 2 paid catering manageresses, and I think that's it. And there was a part-time marketing girl, 8, but we'll not count her because she only came in about 1 or 2 days a week. So I think there were 7 paid staff when I was there, that kept the thing running midweek. But now there's all sorts of people. There's curators, and there was a librarian as well. There was a librarian, so there were about 8 when I started there. Rosie, the librarian. But now there's all these curators and education officers, and oh dear God, and none of them are on minimum wage, let me tell you. They're all quite well paid, and I just think, why do you need all these people? Because since my day at Christ in the sort of very early 1990s, visitor figures, like visitor figures for most attractions, whatever they are across the country, have been slowly falling all the way. But now they're paying more staff, but the visitor figures are still slowly falling. Now you can see where that's going to head to, can't you? Yeah, I just don't think it's a very good idea. And what really concerns me about Crouch, is a lot of the trams that I remember being runners, being restored and operating, are now not regarded as runners. So in some way those vehicles are deteriorating. That really concerns me. That the fleet of operational vehicles doesn't grow, because for every one they restore, there's another one that they let go and rot in a corner somewhere. Blackpool 49 being a good example of that. Leeds 602 being another very good example of that. Um, Leeds 600 is an example of that, and I could go on. So yeah. And Rack 2, does Rack 2 run these days? I have a feeling Rack 2 probably doesn't run these days. So yeah, I know what people at other museums say about Cryche. I've had it said to me more than once this about Cryche: nice trams, shame about the owners. Dominic also says Malian Bridge is a bit of an odd place for one of the routes to end. Yes, it all ends in odd places, Dominic. Malian Bridge is odd. And you went to halfway. Did you also go on the one that branches off of the halfway route? It kind of goes part way on the route out to halfway, and then it branches off and turns short near 3 tower blocks or 2 tower blocks, and it just stops in the middle of nowhere near these tower blocks. I can't remember what that's called. I can't remember what that place is called, but that's another really stupid one that just stops in the middle of nowhere. And also halfway certainly stopped in the middle of nowhere when it was built, because when it was built, halfway park and ride wasn't even there. So that car park that you think gives the tram a reason to go there, to the park and ride side, when the tram went to halfway, that car park wasn't there originally. That's an afterthought. So why the hell did it stop there at halfway? Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. It's a very funny place, halfway. All those jokes about, where are you going? Halfway. Oh, I'm waiting for one that goes all the way. Yeah. Dominic says the seats are quite nice on the older super trams, but the new ones built for Rotherham are a bit crap. Yes, well, I had a hand in those seats. When that mock-up bit of a tram, basically one end of a tram, they made a kind of prop mock-up out of cardboard and bits of string and stuff to get public reaction to it. When that was outside the cathedral, long before the tramway started, it may even have been before they started building it, pretty much every seat on that mock-up, it had seats in it, maybe about 10 or 20 seats, and everyone was different. Everyone had a different cushion and things on it. And one of the things they were evaluating was which ones people liked. And some of them were very thin. They were like plastic seats covered in material, but no padding in them at all. And there were some that were just plastic and all sorts. But there was one that was very plush and springy and very soft, and that is the one that they went for. That they have been recovered. They were a kind of turquoisey colour when they were new. But they have been reupholstered, but they have kind of kept most of them, I believe. I believe that this now, when the trams got refurbished, are they the same seats? I think they're all the same seats, except for the tip-uppy ones in the buggy bay things. And they are different, I believe, because that was altered when the trams got refurbished. But yeah, they had very plush seats when they were new, because the people of Sheffield said that's what we want. Christopher says in 4 weeks I'm moving to my new home. So did you show the photo of Western Electric I sent in the email? No, not yet, Christopher, because I've not got it yet. I've not found it yet. It says, I think I'm the only one to have a hardwired GPO 746 in Australia. Hey, you may be the only one to have a 746 now in Australia, Christopher, not just a hardwired one. Gambo says, I've sent pictures of the bat phone, Andy. Right, I'll have to do it next week, Gambo. I'll find them and stick them on next week, because it takes me a while to sort of rummage them out of my email. Dominic says, yeah, the tram line to Herdings Park, yeah, that's the one I was on about, the one that stops near the skyscrapers. It says that has a very odd branch line feel to it. Yeah, it's bizarre. I've only been there once. And I thought, I think I got on it by accident. I think I was only trying to get to halfway, and I think I got a one that went to Herdings Park by accident. And but yeah, Herdings Park is odd. Dominic says, I don't mind wooden slatted seats on heritage trams because you know what you're getting. Now I'll tell you something about that, Dominic. Wooden slatted seats, if they're done right, can be quite comfortable, but they're not always done right. It depends very much on the exact design of them, as to whether they're comfortable or not. And one type you will come across at Christ is a thing called a stay dry seat, which is a wooden slatted seat that when it rains it doesn't get wet. Clever stuff. So when you go there, ask them about stay dry seats on the top decks of open toppers. Ask them what a stay dry seat is, and see if any of them can tell you. I'm just trying to think which ones have got a stay dry seat on. I believe LCC 106 has got stay dry seats on the top deck. I believe. I'm doing this from memory now. I think that's got stay dry seats on the top deck, LCC 106. I think, but I'm not certain. They were the height of technology at the time. Simple and clever, but they never get wet. You do not get a wet bum if you sit on a stay dry seat on the top of an open top tram on a wet day. How does it work? It's magic. It's you say, oh, there's a cover or something goes over it. No, there's no cover or something goes over them. It's just the shape of the seat that rain doesn't stick to it, sort of thing. But yeah, I don't mind wooden slatted seats. We used to have buses here. Chesterfield Transport used to have buses in the 70s and 80s where some of the seats upstairs were made out of fiberglass. It was an anti-vandal thing, sort of towards the back of the top deck. Certainly the back seat on pretty much all of them, but on some of the buses, so many rows of seats going forward were fiberglass as well. Great fun to sit on that back seat when the bus went round the corner. You slid from one side of the bus to the other. But yeah. But again, they were not particularly uncomfortable because whoever had designed those fiberglass seats had really thought about it, and it worked incredibly well. Right, I think we've exhausted the chat. In fact, that may be a good point to end for today. I'm just looking at these Truephone handsets and I'm realising some of them are different. They are different. Must be different people moulding them. Just looking at two of these that are different. I'll show you this before I go, then I'll leave you for the week to have a think about this. Look. Right, which way round do I want to do it? Look at those holes in there. Right, you see the holes that are roughly plant pot shaped, yeah? These holes here, yeah? Look at the bottom horizontal edge of the hole. Is that one wider at the bottom than that one? Do you see it? Do you see that? That this one is narrower than this one. You see that? Yeah. All sorts of weird differences to them. Yeah. So, yeah. Weird. Trim phones are weird. Right. So, I think that is probably more or less a wrap for today. Thanks to everybody for taking part once again. So it's not been the most exciting of streams in the world today, but it was a bit of a last minute job today. After spending all of yesterday not doing what I should have been doing, but going rooting in trees for canal boats instead. Don't it say SDC seem to change the trim phone all the time, especially in the early days with the early 722s. Yes, they did dominate. Well, we'll have to do something on trim phones. We'll have to get some out and compare, because there's other things about them I've noticed that are different as well. So we will have a look at that. So anyway, we will be back here, all being well, same time, same place next week. As I say, Friday and Saturday I should be boat moving. Hopefully we're going to film some of it. So if you happen to be on the waterways between Thorn and Rotherham next Friday and Saturday, keep an eye out. You might see me coming towards you. Yeah, and we might also by next week have news about the boat in the trees, and if it's going to be a restoration project or not. Are we going to take it on? You've got a week to find out. If you want to be a person who finds out the very, very first about what's happening, make sure you are subscribed to us on Patreon. It's only about £1 a month to do it, and when we do strange stuff like that, the updates normally end up here first. It's at patreon.com/AndyShed. That's patreon.com/AndyShed. And you'll be the first to know. Well, first after me, anyway. Right, that really is it for today. Thanks once again to everybody for taking part in the chat and that. Good to see Dominic did finally make it home from his travels in Sheffield. And yeah, we'll see where everybody gets to next week. But for me, for now, have a good week ahead, everybody, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.